So God told me to tell you that all of those struggles that you have been having, let's say possibly within this past year, taking losses, being confused, mental torments, just battles that you have been fighting internally, being rejected, things not working out in your favor. Your life has been chaos, especially as a chosen. But right now, this is a different type of battle that you have been fighting this past year. All because of the confusion that you have brought into your life, into your spirit, and into your knowing. That confusion in your journey was meant to happen to actually wake your spirit up in the ways that it needed to be awakened. And my name is Dominica Divinely, God's favorite light worker, the golden healer, the messenger, and your down-to-earth high priestess. So my fine divine collective, you guys have been through a lot, but a lot of you, my fine divine collective, have been struggling here lately. You probably have taken so many losses. If you reflect, you might even think back of when you started digging and started experiencing in other religions and other spiritual cultures and other spiritualities. You grew up knowing one God. You grew up knowing what religion you belong to in your household. You grew up knowing the God that has always carried you, has always answered you, and the God that has always allowed you to manifest everything that you have asked and desired for. But let's not get it confused, because although you have always manifested what you wanted through word of mouth, all you had to do was speak it. Because you don't have to do much because of who you are. Although you have always gotten what you wanted, but because you have not always had the mindset or the discipline to maintain, to keep, or to appreciate what the God that you have always known granted you, it has also been taken away. But that is not the case in this message of me telling you what God, your God, has told me to tell you. Because whether your God is Allah, Buddha, Jesus, whoever, the universe, we are all one. So your God is still speaking to you through me right now, okay? And you know when I tell you, okay? Whatever you have changed from as a child, the God that you have always known to direct you, and then you could have went spiritual, which is okay if you still acknowledge that same God. But I am talking about those, you could have also, went to another religion or spirituality and then came back to your rightful God or your original God. But for those ones who are in this part of their journey or who have already crossed this part of their journey and has already put their rightful God back in place, will know what I am talking about. You, my fine divine collective, have taken a detour in your journey where you have experienced with other religions, other cultures, other spiritualities. You've also brought in different spirits and welcoming them into your own spirit, into your own life, into your own world while you were practicing and trying to experience with what you have begun to be intrigued with, because that's what it was. You were curious, you were intrigued, and you had kind of drifted from your God. I can't go as far as to say that you possibly, had some type of bad experience in your journey. You went through your dark nights of the soul and you realized that God has not always been there. Because at the end of the day, you also know that when you were going through all of those battles, when people were turning against you and you were actually trying to pick yourself up off of the ground from where people were turning their backs on you and was not there for you, and you were seeing people for who they were, and you were actually alone in your struggles, and you had to actually go through the fire alone, you know that your rightful God was the one that was there for you to do so. And then somehow after that, you went off to experience on the journey when you decided to realize and become awakened and aware of what was really going on after your dark nights of the soul and your conscious awakenings, okay? So now that you have become conscious, you realize that the truth as you know it is not really the truth. So then maybe you even started to question, what is God? Maybe you decided to actually go off because of what you've been through and think that you were serving the wrong God because of the betrayal that you have gone through that didn't make you want to believe that you and the people that you had gone through, the things that you had gone through with, were serving the same God. But whatever the case was, and whatever the reason was that actually made you go and shift into this new experience with new spiritualities, you went off and you did the damn thing. You started seeking guidance from other people that could possibly be in whatever was in your interest, because I feel like most of this was coming from curiosity. If you really want to get down to it, you were actually curious. You were trying to find your place. The curiosity was you trying to find your place, not just in life, but just with yourself, okay? Because what you had went through before, when you went through your dark nights of the soul, when you started to realize that people aren't the people that you thought they were, and that life isn't what you thought it was, and how you have become awakened to all of the things that you had to open your eyes to, you really was just trying to find your tribe because you didn't think you fit in or belonged to where you came from. So somewhere in your journey, you was like, maybe you belong here. So maybe you went and you started seeking, started becoming intrigued. You started doing your research, you started reading up, you started consulting. Some of you possibly could have just started working with your spirits, whether it had been through tarot, whether it had just been through some type of magic work. Maybe it had just been through allowing somebody to guide you and teach you the works. Whatever the case may be, however it came, however it was done, you know that you have shifted. And to be honest, a lot of you have given your information, your name, your spirit to a lot of people that you shouldn't have given it to, that you have put your trust into. That's why I always say, do not give your information, your name, your pictures, whatever, to people that you do not know. Your name, your picture, your birthday, all that stuff that people be asking for readings, when you have not done your complete research on them and you do not know what type of spirits they carry. So a lot of you have been trapped by destiny swappers, spirits that you didn't need to bring into your life and welcome into your life, as you had turned your back on the God that you originally served and know had kept you away from these type of things in the first place, and has always saved you when you has always gone through the things that you were going through that had brought you up into this point, and before then as well. So you turned your back on your God, and your God turned off on you, okay? What do you expect? Okay, so you went off and you started doing things your own way. You started seeking things in a way that was detrimental to your spirit without consulting with the God that you turned your back on. So what do you think is going to happen? Confusion, struggles, not to mention you playing with people that actually know exactly what they are doing in the works and in the fields and the religion and spiritualities that they come from. You are just doing stuff and running off. But at the end of the day, all of those things that you had to go through and witness has brought you into actually knowing and connecting with your spirit in the ways that you needed to connect with your spirit, and has also brought you closer to God, your God. Because possibly somewhere in your journey when you have realized that this can't be life, this is not what it was before, things are just happening, why am I losing this? Why do I feel cursed? Why am I always battling this? And yes, a lot of it is because you have awakened to the ways of how these curses come towards you, and you know how they happen and come about in the spiritual realm. But you also have allowed yourself to be vulnerable and discarded. But because of who you are, you've always been protected to an extent. God may have been disappointed at you, or God may have allowed these things to happen to put you in the position that you needed to be put in. At the end of the day, you realize that something wasn't right, and you too possibly have come to the point to where you feel like giving your information, like your identities, to these people that do these spiritual works. Although you might consider yourself spiritual and you might practice stuff like this yourself, but you know you could be trusted, and you know that there are a lot of those that can't be trusted. So you do not do that. Although you may have in the past, you do not do it now. With that said, that was just an example of a learning experience of why you had to go through things through your journey, and to see what type of spirits are behind these people, for your eyes to be open and for you to see the souls of the people that your God needed you to see, to put you in the position that you needed to be in when it was your time to be in that position, okay? And I feel like a lot of you are at that point to where you have already realized that Your God has always been that same God from the beginning. It's just that you were possibly religious instead of spiritual, allowing your God to do the works and show you what was exactly going on behind the scenes, which was the battle that was trying to keep you from seeing, okay? So, for those who have not gotten up to this point, and for those who have not realized that what have been going on was what I just told you, and why these struggles, like all of the losses and all of the mishaps and all of the struggles and all of the confusions and these spells and everything that has gotten to you to make you feel like you're down to nothing, possibly, because a lot of you might feel like you've become down to nothing, and it's like you might need saving, but you don't need saving. You're exactly where you need to be, because that was a part of the journey. Just know that when the time is right, God is going to put everything in place in your life that will make you feel like you don't need to be saved anymore, okay? So right now, it's just that you're still cooking, okay? You come a long way. You just got a little bit more baking to do, baby. Don't fret. But you know what? To know that you were almost there is because you have already gotten back to your original God. So just keep on doing what you're doing, baby. And this is just for confirmational purposes only, because y'all be knowing